Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the social race. My name is Jamie, or Indigo as you can call me, and we are here for the Miami Grand Prix. Yes, I was on mute, by the way. I was waiting for the cars to come out of the pit lane. That's my usual way to go around this session. But we are here for Lars van der Linden's social race here in Miami, and majority of these boys in the server or in the session are the NLR boys, so they all know each other and they all know what their pace is like. I'm hoping for a very good race around here. I know the NLR boys are very close in pace, and there are quite a few of them too, so hopefully they keep that promise and provide us with some good action around here. But first of all, we've got to get to the qualifier session, which is 18 minutes around. On board with the Sauber with Mr. Chris as we head down, coming towards turn number 1. The engine noise is a bit loud, and we have a slight lock up into turn 1, compromised into turn 2, but he does take a lot of curb into turn 2. Just use a better ERS to power his way out of the exit. And apologies if I am shouting, because the engine noise on my side is very loud. Now come to the tricky first set to split, where it can be very difficult, especially on the exits or corners, where it is so easy to validate or lose back in the car if you carry too much speed or hit the corners too hard. Coming out of turn 9 now with the DRS enabled, an opportunity to overtake around here, going down this straight into turn 11 we go, and see how he hits the brakes, stamps on the brakes then as he slows the car down, downshift into 4th gear, into 3rd, very late there, and the off-board is fine. On board is hella loud. Yeah, that's what I thought, because I thought I was shouting when I was talking there. I don't want to shout for you guys to annoy you. So when I was on board, because I know I had a commentary yesterday for a league, and they wanted to hear the cars, which is like, yes, which is all right, because obviously you want to hear the cars around here. But when I went on board with these drivers, the car was just hella loud, and there's a slight look up there for Mr. Chris going into turn number 17, I believe, as he makes his way out the final corner now. And let's see what the lap time is for Chris as he sets the benchmark of a 25.6. I have no idea what a good lap time is around here. Only in last game, but this game I am on the unknown, on the fence, it must be said. So I think we've got an RB making his way down the back straight now, and let's see who that is. It's Alpha Gully, but I believe his teammate is about to make his way towards the finish line to set a lap time of a 25.5, and he goes to the top of the time machines by a tenth, does NLR Spicer. By the way, I do get confused between the Red Bull and the RB on the track map, and Gully replaces him by 3/10 with a 25.2, so strong lap time there from the RB driver. I think it's the Saubers, like the Ferrari engine noise, where it's really loud, as Felix One puts his Alpine into P4 there with Keke on the back straight too. DRS enabled, and the Aston Martin behind us gets a really good tow as well then, so watch out for him in the Aston Martin. We'll see who that is as they make their way now out of the heavy braking zone. Very important to get traction on the exit as well, as it's very crucial. And now we're coming towards the finish line for Keke, goes P3, and the Aston Martin of Finn Bob, who only goes P8 there. So did get a good lap time there, must have been on a flying lap, but made a mistake and he let Keke go, hence why he was so far behind. And now we've got Justin for NVR making his way towards the heavy braking zone. We'll see a lot of lockups, and the car is snatching on the brakes there, heading to the heavy braking zone. I believe Justin is about to make his way towards the pits, which he does, and into the pit lane he goes then. Lars van der Linden, a very hard worker indeed off the track, as he tries to get all the social races underway between different teams. The 5v5v5 we had earlier on as well, where I commentated a few. And TTWR is 23.7 by Otis Lawrence, says Tim. So that's a very interesting time, but we're nowhere near that so far. But obviously time trial is a lot different towards the qualifying session. What is quicker, by the way, Tim? Is time trial quicker or is qualified? Because last season in the F123 game, I went quicker in the actual Grand Prix mode rather than time trial. And the weather was the same too, and the conditions were the same, as Lars van der Linden goes behind his Red Bull teammate Spicer, who is in the pit lane, separated by a few hundreds of those two. I remember in the ILT races that Spicer was the top contender too. He was always up there in the ILT races I commentated. Obviously I used to be an ILT driver. Short quali should be quicker because the track evolution, yeah, that's always a factor around the qualifying sessions. There's a Kyle player makes his way back in the pit lane as he tries to overtake the Aston Martin, but hits the pit lane speed limiter very quickly then. The Haas of Jacob Let's see what he could player there makes his way on the back straight with the DRS wide open. Obviously the ERS modes have changed now. You could go into different modes in the qualifying session and the races as well. Obviously you could in the race with medium and hot lap, but you can change it around now as we make our way out of the final quarter for Jacob. Let's see where the Haas can pop his car into P10. He goes with a 26.0 then, and we've still got plenty of drivers who haven't set a lap time just yet, as Whalen there in the, I think he's in the Aston Martin, which he is. Yeah, he's on the soft core power tyres, not the Inters then, as it was displaying there. Tom, I think, in last place, is going in a lap. He's about to make his way towards the line, and he goes pole with a 25.2 then, so the margin extends at the front, but only just by about 300ths of a second there, so not much separated by Tom and Alpha Gully. But so far, NLR top the timing sheet, I believe, majority, if in fact nearly all of these drivers are NLR in this session then, so a big train. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all pans out during the race. BRT Jacob now is making his way down towards turn 11, but I don't think he's on lap time, is he? Because he's still got 100% EOS in that battery. Zinc Motion is back in the pit lane then, so we're just waiting for people to start their second flying lap. And here is Felix One in the Alpine, the German driver, and he's a PSGL driver. He's raced in EML before as well. And let's see what he could do in the F1 at 23 game. I'm not really caught up to speed in terms of knowing what these drivers are doing right now. I used to years and years ago, but I'm less interested in the community now. I'm not a part of the community as I was back then, so I don't really have a lot of information on these guys like I used to be. So that's what I'm suffering in and lacking in. But hopefully I can keep that knowledge up to date. I try and keep going to see what these guys do in PSGL. PSGL, I think, does start on Monday, and it's going to be very interesting to see which of these drivers are placed in which tier if they are participating, and I'll keep up to speed with that as well. So about to watch Felix One then start a flying lap, kind for player, and a lot of drivers on their out laps as Felix One then makes his way towards the finish line with the DRS wide open again. Half of the qualifying session has been completed. 9 minutes left to go here in a qualifying then as we make our way down into turn 1, turn 2 and turn 3. Carries good momentum, good speed through there. No signs of the car stepping out as we continue then down into this tricky first set. Here we go. Carries the speed, stays in 6th gear, slight lift off there, and you can go well, you can, if I'm correct, Spicer has the fastest TT time with a 24, says Tim there. So we're not near the 24s just yet. It's a 24.5, so about 7/10 off the fastest time we've seen in TT so far, set by Spicer, who currently occupies the 3rd row with his teammate Lars van der Linden. Felix One had a bit of a snap going into turn 11 there, but might affect him just a little bit as we make our way now into this tricky section of corners. Turn 12 to turn 16 can be really difficult as well. It's so easy to misjudge that, and it's so easy to scrape the wall on the exit and pick up a lot of wheel spin on as well on the exit. So let's see what Felix does in that middle sector split, which is just passed by. So I didn't exactly see what the middle sector was, even though it just popped up. That shows how much I'm paying attention. But here we go then, is the heavy brake, and so we go. Is there contact? Did I see a car making contact? I'm not quite sure. I think Felix One lost it by himself because the back end of the car was snapping. And here he is then, Felix One comes across the line. It's a 26.0 for the German driver as he stays, unfortunately, down there in a P12 then. So he did have a few mistakes in that middle and last sector there. So plenty of time to be found in hand for the German. And here is Kuhlmann now making his way towards that first sector. It's really fast flowing, so easy to make mistakes. You can really drift out wide through here to try and open up and get a good run out of the exit here. Obviously, back in 2022, our first Miami Grand Prix, we saw, I think it was Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly making contact through there. That was the only excitement during that race. But I don't really remember the 2022 race. Was it? I think it was Verstappen who won, if I'm not mistaken. I know he started further down the field because he didn't really get a qualifying lap in. But I don't really remember a lot, unfortunately. I remember a lot of F1 races years and years ago, but recently my memory is a bit fried. So here's Kuhlmann then taking wide angles, gets so close to the wall, and he's a 10th down in the first sector. Apologies about the notifications on the top right of the screen there. I don't play Apex Legends, that's somebody inviting me there. But Alpha Gully is also a 10th down in our little sector too. So a few people losing a bit of time in that middle sector as Coleman now makes his way out of the final corner, or the proper final corner, as he heads off into the pit lane then, as he's not satisfied with his lap time. Soapbox, who just popped up into P5 and pushes the Red Bull pair further down. However, Spicer, who's one of the quickest in time trial, is currently 2/10 up in the middle sector as we stamp on the brakes then again. Into the heavy braking zone we go. Picks up the throttle immediately. No signs of wheel spin on the back end of that Red Bull. Here he is, making his way towards the finish line. It's Paul with a 25.1, and he's currently he's only about a 1/10 quicker than Tom in P2 then. So great stuff indeed there for Spicer as he gets back up into P1. Lars van der Linden has just started, I believe, a second flying lap because he's done his first lap on the same set of softs. So must have made a mistake somewhere or invalidated his lap time. Did Lars van der Linden there. So he's have to go for his second lap time on the same set of soft compound tyres. I don't believe tyre wear in qualifying is too effective on them soft compound tyres there. So he should be alright for a second lap, but he's got 5 minutes left to go on the clock. However, he is 2 and a bit tenths up in that first sector, so good signs as he abuses the overtake on the straight there. You want to be very tactical in terms of using the overtake on the straights there, because you do have your 1 lap deployment as well, so you can easily run out of that if you use the overtake earlier on or a bit too much. But here we are then, sweeping to the right hand and now coming into this Mickey Mouse section. This chicane can be really difficult. Look at that, the accuracy, the precision, taking the curves there on the entry. Full curves, no validation, and the car seems stable enough. Now Lars van der Linden is 3/10 up in that middle sector, so where's this going to place him? About P2? It all depends if he can find time in that final sector, which is about a heavy braking zone and 2 fast corners. So let's see then, can he make up the time in the braking zones or on the exit as he uses the overtake button once again to power his way down towards the straight. It's P5 only for Lars van der Linden, so he lost a bit of time in that last sector there to Lars, and he only puts his Red Bull into P5. Majority of drivers are in the pits. Sync Motion has invalidated his lap time and it peels off into the pit lane. And the Sauber, when you go on board with the Sauber, it is really loud in the ears. That's why I balance my party audio, because I've still not got used to the party audio yet. And some people like to hear the engines, obviously, as they want to hear the engines power their way around the circuit. And it's really hard sometimes to concentrate when the engine noise is so loud, especially in the Ferrari power cars. I've not been on board with the Haas or the Ferrari just yet, but we've still got a few people down there who haven't set a lap time. Careful player, Waylon, Brand Snitchell, and Dan, last place, haven't set a lap time just yet. But talking about the Mercedes man, is making his way around the left-hander of a turn number 9 then. So he is going for a flying lap, but waiting for the final moments here in qualifying to produce that flying lap. We did see Kindful player and also Waylon on their flying laps, but they made a mistake. But I'm not seeing Dan or Brant Snitchell down there set a flying lap, or go for one at least. So Lars van der Linden will make his way back in the pit lane. I don't believe he has enough time to get in the pit lane and slap on a brand new set of soft compound tyres. So his qualifying is effectively over, and he has to watch from the pit lane to see if any of these guys are going to improve on their lap times. I want to go on board with the driver who's closest towards the line. I think the blue car of Kindful player, there he is, in the Williams, and hasn't set a lap time just yet. Currently sat down there in a P17 Finn Bob. Unfortunately, the Aston Martin hasn't really got a representative lap time either. So with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go on the clock, he'll be looking to try and set a lap time, and let's see if he does then in the Williams. So we can see that majority of drivers are on the track. I believe Justin's on the flying lap. Let's go on board with him in the Haas. There he is, coming through turn 3, rides the curve really nicely there as he's looking for the maximum amount of time. They're using every single part of the racetrack flat out there, coming into the left-hander of turn 4. Now sweep it through, and you want to get as close to track limits as you can on the exit, bring it back open, get on the curve on the exit. And what is he, a 10th up in the first sector already? That was really quick to the first sector, even off board there for Justin. That's what I mean. I went on board with the Haas with the Ferrari power engine. It seems so loud as well, as I tried to adjust my volume once again, but I'll try and do it later on. Oh, there, I thought Justin will lock the rears up. It looks so sketchy when you go off board there because it looks like they're about to snap the rears up, but they keep it nice and controlled. Look at the speed he's carrying through that slow sector there as he opens up the corner now to turn 16 we go. And he's a huge 4/10 up in that middle sector is Justin. Could be on course for a pole position, but the problem is he's got about 4 cars stacked up in that heavy braking zone. Will they get out of the way for Justin? Yes, they do. As they make our way down into turn 17, go a slight lock up there, gets close to the wall as he possibly could. Then he makes his way towards the finish line. What's it going to be for Justin? And it's pole with a 24.9. Fantastic lap time indeed. The only man inside the 24s. And let's see then if anybody else can try and beat him. Tom in the first sector. And look at Chris, who's invalidated his lap time. Unfortunately for him, has he got enough time to try and get the checker flag? Yes, he has. 40 seconds left to go on the clock then. So there's still an opportunity for Chris there as the two Saubers are close together on the track. Vin Bob has left the session. Hopefully he can get back in. He's still down there, P17. Kaivo player is still in the pit lane. Tom, I think every single driver's left. I'm the only one in the lobby, so I might have to check. Can somebody update me? Is it just me that left the session, or was it everybody else? I'm not quite sure what's happened because we've just been spoilt of a brilliant qualified session with the F1 glitches, of course. And hopefully we can get back in there without any sort of delays. But before anything happens, I'll take a short break. I'll try and join back the session if I have left. So it looks like it was just me that had problems there, not anybody else, because apparently every single driver is still in the session. So my huge apologies about that one. So Spicer was able to take pole by about a few hundredths of a second. He just beat Justin, and let's see what the time is. In fact, we won't be able to see it, but we'll wait for the race director. And Justin is in second place. Spicer's on pole. And this should set up a really good race. So the Austrian is ahead of the Dutchman by about 200s. And the Austrian, Dutchman and German all together. Coolman in P4 ahead of Zinc Motion in the Saubers, doing a good job in P5 and P6. Alpha Gully in 7th place ahead of Lars van der Linden. Soapbox in 9th ahead of Keke. Ricardo Kona is 11th place ahead of Joris Likes Food. Tonio Wright 13th ahead of BRT Jacob. Felix 1 15th, Dan 16th, Brand Snitchell 17th, Vin Bob 18th, Kaipo player 19th, and I think Dan is in last place. So apologies about the problem in qualifying that occurred, but we're going to get settled into the race very shortly. I'll take a short break. I'll be back with you very shortly. And we are underway for the Miami Grand Prix. Then Let's Do gets a better start off the line. Spicer still in P1, but Justin's on the inside. Can he take the lead going down the inside? A bit of contact too between the two, but Spicer still remains in the lead. The Sauber Chris get out of shape. He might be under pressure there from Gully in P7. Let's see what happens. There's this multi-core scrap going on there. Lars van der Linden goes around the outside. There's a McLaren who was spun, and that is Coolman unfortunately making contact there with the Sauber of Zinc Motion. So he's falling all the way down into 90th place. Huge consequences already. The two RBs about to go side by side too. That's Alpha Gully and Ricardo going side by side as well. Let's see if Ricardo in the slipstream of his teammate can get past his RB teammate going down into turn 9. They're both on the medium compound tyres, so both equal advantages. But down the inside goes Ricardo now, and that's a great move indeed of the inside to turn out. But Mercedes are looking to take advantage. A few cars going wide in the background there, a few swapping places. Keke versus Jacob there, going into this tight chicane. You don't want to really go side by side through here. Antonio suffers the consequences by picking up an immediate 3-second time penalty at 4 corner cutters, so not great indeed. But Chris is all over the back of his Sauber teammate. They both go wheel to wheel as we head down towards the heavy braking zone. In the background there, you can see the Alpine, the Haas, the Red Bull and the Ferrari getting so close to each other. But Chris is ahead of his own teammate. Spicer now fighting with Justin. This is for the lead of the race, and they're going hammer and tong already on the first lap of this Grand Prix. So I didn't even get a chance to say the tyres because there was no formation lap. There is the tyre strategy for you guys, and the majority are on the medium compound tyres. Only about 2 or 3 on the hard compound tyres go for that long stint, but safety cars can be inevitable. A few people that get out of shape coming out of turn 2, 3. And let's see what's going on then between the two RB drivers who swapped places at the very start. They had a great battle indeed. And Mr. Chris, who was able to get back in DRS, but there's another change to the lead. There they are, Spicer versus Justin once again. The two Haas and Red Bull going wheel to wheel. And let's see who has the DRS then. Which one of them will open the rear wing? It looks like none of them has DRS, except now Spicer, who has just opened that rear wing. And he puts himself into first place. So these two going hammer and tong immediately on the first opening laps of this Grand Prix. Let's see what's happening between the RB boys. The Mercedes of Soapbox makes contact with the rear right tyre of the RB, but stays ahead. No further damage done indeed, but they're all stuck behind Ricardo because Ricardo's got a massive gap. P6 downwards have already been split from this DRS train. We've got a few people in the background making contact and a few spinning. The two Aston Martins down into last place they go. The Williams is in the wall. Antonio right there. Not quite sure what happened to him. But here we go. Down the long straight we go. The Red Bull tucked in behind Justin. The pole man down into P2. Oh, look at that. Justin really locking the rear tyres up there. And that's what must have cost him going down into turn 9. Or turn 8, sorry. Because we had Spicer all over the back of him. Spicer sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix now. He pulls the right side. Once again, he overtakes him for P1. And back into the lead he goes then ahead of his Haas teammate. His NLR teammate 2. Is the Haas man Justin there looking for the move. Another opportunity. Tony O'Reilly gets a 10-second time penalty for speed in the pit lane. He's retired from this Grand Prix then. So his days are done here in Miami. And Lars van der Linden down in P7 is putting increasing pressure there on Ricardo Kroner. Remember, both RBs had a scrap on the first lap. They lost a lot of time towards their rivals in front. The gap is huge already from P5 to P6 as the top 5 are left alone to scrap it out. Here comes Justin on the Red Bull once again. Already in 3 laps, these guys have been scrapping over for P1 and 3 position changes between the two. Justin and Spicer swap places once again. Lars van der Linden is ahead of Ricardo, goes deep into the braking zone. The Mercedes of Soapbox is going around the outside of Jacob there. Yes, ahead, I think, of the Mercedes driver, and he's up into P10. Or the Haas man, sorry, not the Mercedes driver. Soapbox is in the Mercedes, of course. But here we go, down the straight again. Another episode of Spicer and Justin about to go wheel to wheel once again, and Spicer retakes the lead of this race and puts himself back into P1. These two traded DRS. Ricardo is ahead of Lars van der Linden, but outbreaks himself, and here comes Lars van der Linden. But we've seen another battle there between the Haas and the Red Bull driver. Here comes Justin once again and puts himself back into P1. And Lars and Ricardo swapping places once again. He puts himself into P6. The more they do this, the more time they'll lose. And Ricardo is about to make his way through into turn 2 at the inside line now. There's the other RB of Alpha Gully looking to take advantage, but Lars, who locked up into turn 1, got compromised at the exit. He stays ahead of the 2 RB boys, the 2 junior teams, of course, or the 2 junior drivers in the RB team. And Ricardo still putting pressure there. There's his RB teammate there, looking to go up the inside, but on that occasion, there isn't enough room to go through. And his teammate of Alpha Gully is looking to keep Keke behind him because Keke is all over the back of the RB2. But this is a great scrap for P6, and here comes the RB and Ricardo. Here comes Gully, and that's 2 overtakes there as he's demoted down his peer. But look at Ricardo going out wide. Look at that 3 abreast. Lars around the outside. Can he make it 2 for 1? Yes, he can. And Lars, who lost 2 places, gained it back immediately and went around the outside of them both after they both went deep. And this is great racing indeed. Lars stays at P6, but the more they do this, of course, the more time they lose the leaders. But it's already, the damage is already done. You might as well scrap it out there. There's no way you're gonna catch the top 5. But once again, we see the Red Bull pressure under pressure from Ricardo behind. Ricardo pulls the right side, and once again he makes an overtake. There's the Haas who's looking to go down the inside, and that is Jacob. Does he get it done? Keke gets squeezed against the wall, but it's all clean and fair so far between these boys. And once again, you can see there the Alpha Tauri, and the Red Bull about to go wheel to wheel. Again, Ricardo tries to keep him around the outside, has the inside line and the racing line for the next corner, and Ricardo just stays ahead of Lars van der Linden. This is a great scrap indeed for P6 downwards. So, it looks like the top 5 have settled down so far, with Justin maintaining the lead. Spies is sticking within that DRS range, of course, of Justin, keeping Tom at bay, and also the 2 Saubers, who also had contact in the first lap, but it looks like they got away with it. And Dan's on the intermediate tyres, of course, but I'm not able to look at the most gain and most loss. I'm looking at Spicer, who was so close behind. But here comes Lars once again, pulls the right side, and this time around the outside. But he goes deep again, and Ricardo, there's a spinner, and that is Soapbox who's spun. Ricardo and Lars going side by side. There's an Alpine trying to get involved too. That is, who is that? That's Keke trying to get involved. Sorry, I'm not used to seeing Keke in the Alpine. He's using the Mercedes for me every time I've seen him race. And there's a Williams who slaps his rear tyres against the wall. And Justin and Spicer once again swap places between the 2 guys there, exchanging first and second, of course. And Lars van der Linden gets ahead of Ricardo for about the 5th time in this Grand Prix. And let's see, then will Spicer respond immediately? Yes, he will. There comes Justin up the inside into turn 1 once again. And let's see if he gets his overtake stick, which he does do, makes the corner, and he gets up into P1 once again. The McLaren of Tom waited patiently for something to happen. He must be so frustrated being in P3, watching these 2 scrap away. He's not able to do anything, stuck in that DRS there. And as you can see, the clouds are gathering in. The sun is no longer shining on the track. So let's see if the conditions change, because look at that. The conditions are changing dramatically, so we might see some rain. Is that why we're seeing people in the medium compound tyres? It could be, you know. But the early stages were critical then. And here comes Spicer once again on the Haas of Justin, go wheel to wheel. And you can see that Justin is harvesting his battery and lets him go up into P1. Bit of contact too for good measure, but nothing too serious. And here comes Lars van der Linden and Ricardo going wheel to wheel again. And Ricardo goes a bit deep there, but stays on the racing line because he has that inside line for the next corner, so he can defend that. And he stays in P6. So this is a great scrap between Lars, Keke, Alpha Gully. And what's happened to the other RB? Where is he so far? I'm trying to have a think where he is. Oh, he's into P9. Nothing's happened. He's just lost a few places. But Justin... Oh, my thing's been glitched there because somebody joined the session. I think a contact was made. Justin goes a bit deep into turn 17, and Spicer once again sneaks his way through on the Haas to go wheel to wheel again. Which one of them has the DRS? I think it's the Red Bull driver who has DRS. Ricardo has been overtaken by 2 drivers, Lars and Keke. Keke's made 2 places once again, and he's up into P6. Thank you to whoever who joined the session, because you glitched my timing sheets there, so I wasn't able to flick through. But here we go. There's a bit of contact maybe. The rain has impacted the circuit. It's on its way. And Ricardo looks like he's struggling. And look at that then. We've got a multi-car scrap going on with the other RB of Alpha Gully making his way through now. And there's Lars van der Linden still involved in this battle. What's happened to Ricardo? Lost a lot of places there in one corner. Lars van der Linden must be so frustrated there behind the RB boys. And through goes Ricardo. Up into P9 he goes, but a bit of contact made between the 2. And there's Justin Spicer once again, exchange positions. Look at the Saubers going wheel to wheel. It's turn 9 we go. Was there a bit of contact there? Felt a bit of contact from the Red Bull. Did he hit the back of the Haas? I was watching the Saubers go through, and Zinc Motion is up to P4. He started on the hard compound tyres, so he won't have the best grip. There's so many battles. The RB and the Alpine made contact too. That's Ricardo and Keke making contact. There's so much action going on. I need some multiple screens and a replay, if that's possible. Thank you very much indeed. Felix 1 there, trying to get involved too. Started down in 15th place, up into P10 is Felix 1. And there's so much action, so much chaos going on already in this race. It's hard to keep up. Look at the Haas going deep into turn 17 again. They all stood and slide, but into the pit lane comes Spicer, followed by the McLaren, and followed by the Sauber, as Spicer almost lost it too, heading into that pit lane. So the intermediates then are being introduced into this race. Is this the right time to pit? Has the guys who still out there, which is Justin and Mr. Chris, left it too late? You can see that Justin is really power sliding out the corners there, as Felix 1 promotes himself into P3 due to staying out there. Safety car will be handy for him indeed, if that's possible. But hopefully things have calmed down now with drivers in the pit lane. DRS will be disabled anytime soon. So, Spicer P4, Tom in P5, Zinc Motion. I think he was on the hard compound tyres, is on the Inters now. Oh, look at that there. He was so confident going to the corner. He almost smashed into the back of Tom, and he almost sent him into a spin as well for good measure. Oh, look at the Sauber going down the inside. Is he brave? Is he daring? Yes, he is. Then he'll try and make a lunge there, which he does. What a great overtake there from Zinc Motion. Puts himself into P5, but not done and dusted yet, though, because Tom will have the DRS, I think. Is DRS enabled? Yes, it is. So here comes Tom once again, going wheel to wheel with the Sauber. DRS now is disabled. So that was perfect timing to get back ahead. But he goes a bit deep though. Would a Sauber come back through? There he is, trying to go around the outside into turn 11, 12. Now heading through turn 13 we go. And he has the racing line, so Tom knew to back out of that one, because there's no point risking going side by side through there. Otherwise, you'll pick yourself up a penalty or make contact. And who's that ahead of us going slightly wide there? Is that Felix 1? Yeah, Felix 1 is still on the medium compound tyres. You can see the Spicer is all over the back of him then. And we see the people who stayed out there on the dry tyres made the wrong call, and they'll drop dramatically down the order, maybe down to P6, because the guys behind us so far. Felix 1 is relegated to P4, but we know he's pitting this lap. A safety car would have been handy indeed for those people, but unfortunately not to be on that occasion, as Spicer then, with 20 laps left to go, has no longer got anybody battling him. The Haas of Justin is in P4, and look at Justin then. He's just came out of the pit lane on cold tyres, and already he's put himself into P3. That's a great lunge indeed. He had a lot more confidence on the throttle, didn't he? Just picked up the throttle way earlier than Tom, and he's able to get into P3 with no problem whatsoever. How are these drivers going to handle here in the wet conditions? It was Obo's out, blockbuster stuff there in the first stint. Everybody fighting for track position in the early stages, knowing that the rain was on its way. But now I think things will be a bit calmer now during this Grand Prix, with the rain hitting the circuit. If there are any battles going on further behind, we've got Alpha Gully in the RB, who was involved in the battle for P6 earlier on, with Lars, Keke, Soapbox, and his own teammate, of course, of Ricardo, who's down into P17. So Ricardo was the one that made contact with Keke, hence why they're so far down. But the rain is really hitting the circuit. Look at Justin, he's got some great confidence now on those intermediates though. So I thought Justin would lose a lot of time, but actually he's putting big pressure on the Sauber of Zinc Motion. Now puts himself up into P2, so one lap pressure into. In fact, the Sauber breaks a bit deep. Will he stay ahead of the Haas? Both go wheel to wheel. Who will pick up the traction first? Who will get a better exit? And evidently it's the Haas, but the Sauber is not willing to give up. He's still trying to force his nose in there, but has to give up eventually, and he has to get relegated down into P3. If you remember though, Zinc Motion started on the hard compound tyres. If he only started on the mediums or soft, it would have worked for him in his favour. But look at Justin. He has so much confidence in the wet conditions there, able to pick up the throttle way earlier than other people. No signs of the car stepping out. You can see that Justin and Spicer battling now, going down into turn 8 we go. It's a bit tight going down there. There's no door open on that occasion. And here we go then. Is Justin able to make a lunge up into turn 9. Once we hit the brakes, you can see that Spicer used the overtake in defense mode. He knows Justin is on his way to attack him as we head down towards turn 9 now. Justin does not overtake on this occasion. He gets so close. He has a lot more confidence on his inters, a lot more confidence in the wet, does the Austrian driver. And you can see that the Red Bull Spies are really struggling with the car there. The back end always complaining, and I complaining too. As you can see that Justin is just lining up for a move, just waiting patiently, biding his time before we start on the brakes once again. Going down into turn 17. Yoix Lies Food has overtaken Lars van der Linden. They're having a scrap for P12. But looks like Lars van der Linden still won ahead of that battle. Here comes Justin now wheel to wheel with Spicer. And they're both late to the brakes. They go wheel to wheel. Who will get a better exit? Out of turn 17 we go. They still remain wheel to wheel, but it looks like Justin is an inch ahead. They both make contact, and Spicer is still holding on for dear life, trying to overtake now Justin into turn 1 we go. They're both late to the brakes again. Is their contact made? They're getting so close. A bit of barging going on between the two. Into turn 3 we go now. Justin around the outside. Can he make the move? No, he can't. This is brilliant racing between Spicer and Justin, getting so close to each other. With the Sauber and Zinc looking patiently. But as you can see there, Justin, so much confidence. Look at that. Able to get the drive, and he's up the inside into turn 9. Does he make the move this time? Yes, he does. But what about the Sauber, who looks like he's got a lot of confidence too in his wet weather skills? But I think Justin now is under massive pressure from Spicer. Here comes Spicer, but has to change lines because the door is firmly shut on the inside. There's the Sauber looking to get involved. Could we go 3 abreast? But the Red Bull is boxed in. Is the Sauber going to go around the outside now? Into turn 9 we go. Zinc Motion has the motion around the outside. Now it's the inside line for the next corner. Spicer trying to hold on, but he can't do it. And he's relegated down into P3. That was a great scrap between the 3 in the wet conditions as well. Elbows out between all those 3. Respect between the 3 as well. NLR boys racing very cleanly here tonight, proving to be. It's nice to see some good racing as well, especially in the wet conditions. But I think Justin now in P1 will pull away. I think Spicer and Zinc Motion did all they could to try and re-overtake Justin, but they just lost it down to turn 9 when they scrapped amongst themselves. I think Justin now will pull away, and the battle for P2 then is on between Zinc Motion and Spicer in P2. I was watching the boys before we came on air. Just finished an episode. I'm not going to spoil it, of course, just in case any of you are fans. So that's why I mentioned the Spider thing. But anyway, Spicer is currently 1.3 seconds away from Justin. So it looks like Justin now has got the rest of these guys covered. And I don't think he'll be looking over his shoulders again during this Grand Prix, unless, of course, he makes a mistake somewhere on the track. The gap behind, they're distributed because they had a massive scrap in the first lap, and a few people fell backwards as well due to spins. Lars van der Linden has been shoved into P14. Keke now is putting pressure on him. There they are going through turn 3 now, with Keke and Lars van der Linden going side by side, and the Austrian is up into P14. But gets a bit wiggly at the exit too. Here comes Lars, and Finn Bob is up to P9 ahead of Soapbox. What happened to Soapbox? He must have made a mistake somewhere on the circuit. Lars van der Linden ahead of Keke still, with the Mercedes of Snitshaw right behind too, looking to take advantage. We'll see then Lars versus Keke side by side again on this short straight, headed down into turn 9 we go. And let's see what happens then. There's the Red Bull up the inside of Keke. Here comes the RB, who's also daring on the brakes. And there they are going side by side with Keke and Lars van der Linden. Which one of these two is backing out? One of you got to back out. And Keke exceeds track limits on the exit there too. And Lars van der Linden clatters over the curb for good measure. The battle for P2 then is still spicing up between Spicer and Zinc Motion. They're still in a battle for P2. Tom, who looks like he was catching up, has lost a bit of time towards second and third place then. It looks like second and third are left to scrap it out between them amongst themselves. And here comes Lars and Keke. Keke, that's Ricardo up the inside, goes deep, lost 2 places, and Lars and Keke are back through again. Ricardo down in 17th place now after being up to P6 a few laps ago, but contact was made between the two. Look at that. The Zinc Motion all over the back, gets a good run out of turn 8, and let's see, can he overtake the Red Bull? The door is shut in his face. You can't go up the inside there, so the outside line is the way to go. Has the Sauber going off bash, trying to overtake the Red Bull driver. Let's have a look now to see if he does, side by side with the Red Bull as we stop on the brakes, headed down into this heavy braking zone to go. Here comes the Sauber, Zinker on the outside, and now has the inside line for good measure, and now he gets ahead of Spicer. Tom is inching forwards, then continuously dropping backwards, so he is gaining when these two are battling, but he's not able to keep up the pace when things are settled down. But can he pick up the pieces if these two make contact? So it looks like the gaps are now starting to increase between some drivers. Spicer and Zinc Motion once again gets into battle for P2. As we make our way down into the heavy braking of turn 14, as Zinc Motion stays ahead of Spicer and stays in P2. So his teammate Mr. Chris, who's up into P5, has got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings indeed. We did see the two Saubers go wheel to wheel on the first lap of the race. What a great battle those two had. And Zinc Motion has the better of his teammate. And Kindful Player up into P6, looking to put pressure on Mr. Chris. Let's have a look at the most gained and lost while there's a bit of null on the track, if I can find it. There, so Kindful Player has made up 30 places from starting P19, had a dreadful qualifying, but make his way up the field slowly but surely. But he does have that 3-second time penalty to his name, of course, so got to watch out for Jacob and Gully right behind too. I am a bit ill, of course, so apologies about my voice here, because my voice is starting to go with a sore throat too. If you live in the UK and you have hay fever, good luck to you, because it is really difficult. My nose is blocked up, of course, so apologies if I do make the odd mistake now and then. I'm still trying to recover, even though the tablets aren't working for the past few months, ever since hay fever season kicked in the UK. But here we go then on the straight once again, with the Rebel Spicer looking to put pressure on Zinc Motion again. Kuhlman has picked up a 3-second time penalty as we head down towards 17. Looks like Spicer is not close enough to make a lunge going down there. And Kindful Player now is ahead of the Sauber, and he puts himself up into a handy P5. And Justin in P1 does cut the corner in turn 1, but gets away with it. But Justin has just disappeared when the intermediates were fitted onto that car. It was a great battle for Spicer and Motion to try and keep her at bay, but wasn't able to be. And ever since then, Justin has not looked back. Driving beautifully, it must be said. And as you can see, that's Gully in the pit lane to put on a set of wet compound tyres. So looks like the rain is starting to get heavier and heavier for the wet tyres to be properly introduced. Normally a useless tyre, because we barely see the wet tyres in Formula 1 due to the FIA not really wanting to rain in the race due to safety, of course. But we all want to see races in the rain. Drivers prepared for the whole life as well. That's what the wet tyres are used for too. But FIA are heavily involved in safety due to obvious reasons, of course. But Spicer Motion there once again. You can see the back of the car twitching as he applied the throttle there in the Red Bull. It's so common in the F1 game now. You'll see a lot of this going on with the rear brakes snatching up. We've seen a lot of people go deep into corners. It is really punishing if you get it wrong in this game. Last game not so, but this game, big consequences indeed. Now heading down the back straight on board with the Red Bull driver, not looking to get past Motion just yet, just biding his time and waiting for the right opportunity to overtake. 14 laps left to go in this Grand Prix. We received some amazing battles in the first stint, but it starts to quiet down now, unfortunately. Maybe a safety car would spice it up, but the guys who are retired in the pit lane, of course, so no safety car to be deployed. Kuhlman is gaining on Finn Bob, and let's see that battle. Look at that, just flew past him, didn't he? Kuhlman just able to pick up the throttle and just absolutely blitzed his way past without any problems at all. So Finn Bob wasn't able to get on the power as quickly as he liked to try and keep Kuhlman at bay. But we've got another person who's pitted onto the wet tyres. In comes the Ferrari too. So the wet tyres now might be the tyres going now as he's getting a bit too heavy for the intermediates. Obviously, the intermediates are used for light standing water and down parts of the track, but will not be useful at all in these wet conditions. So let's see then if the wet tyres are the way to go. But in the old F1 games, I've noticed as well that the wet period, the heavy wet period, only lasts for a few minutes. Then we go back to inters. I've seen people pitted onto the wets, and they have a massive advantage at the start, but they lose it again because the rain has settled down, the water's cleared off the track, and we're back to intermediates again. So let's see if the heavy rain is here to stay, because the likes of Alpha Gully could look really smart there in P10, but we'll see if the rain eases off a bit. The gap at the front continues to extend between Justin and Motion. Now 7 seconds, that's a big advantage. And Justin there with his time trial of a 24.5 as Tom, one of our big runners now, is in the pit lane to put on the wet tyres. You can see that Gully is gaining on Finn Bob in P9, so the wet tyres are the better tyre for the time being, but some of these drivers might have to go through the pain of being on the intermediates in the heavy stages of the rain. Then it should ease off in a few minutes time. Maybe that's the case, or maybe it will just stay heavy towards the end of the Grand Prix. And the car sliding once again out of turn 9 we go. And looks like Spicer is not able to find his way past. But look at Zing Motion. Gets a really poor exit. And we're going to see Spicer then side by side with the Sauber as they both deploy the battery then as we race down into turn number 10 we go. It looks like the rain is starting to affect some people, but the Sauber still remains in P2. That's a big opportunity for Spicer to get through, but the Sauber's quick reactions enabled him to stay in P2. Lost a lot of time though towards Justin, who's untroubled at first place. So I think the wet tyres now are the better tyre at this stage. You can see it's really heavy, and the McLaren of Tom is on the back of his teammate, of course. So let's see how that battle goes down at McLaren. Should Coolman let him go so that Tom doesn't lose too much time, because Tom was in the top 4 before he made his pit stop. Let's see if anybody else might dive to the pit lane. The Sauber goes a bit deep into 17. Is anybody else going to pit, or are they going to pay the long game on the intermediates before it gets better? And here we are then side by side with the Red Bull, but the Red Bull stays behind him as we head down into turn 1. It's a case now for the intermediate runners of just suffer now and be rewarded later, because I think the track will start to ease off with the light rain again. So I think we might have a little bit of a period where it's wet tyres, but not too much to try and cause a massive deficit and a massive gap towards the guys behind on the inters. Tom is not able to overtake his teammate Coolman, so Coolman does stay in front of P7. So it looks like Tom is struggling even with a brand new set of wet tyres, not able to get past his own teammate on older tyres. Could be the crossover point between the inters and the wets, but as we head down towards turn 11 now, and Spies are then not able to make a move once again. But look at Jacob now on the back of the other Sauber on Mr. Chris to go wheel to wheel going down into turn 9. But as you can see, the Sauber just a bit late on the brakes there, ahead of the Haas still. BRT Jacob with no penalties, currently running in a pretty P6, doing a great job too. And you can see he's crawling all over the back of that kick Sauber in P5. And I think Spicer is about to make a lunge on the other Sauber. There we go then. You can see Motion defending on the inside line, making Spicer go all the way around the outside. But I don't think Spicer's outbroke himself. He's gone off the track and he's going to hit the wall, which he does. Do you know what? That was quite a weird crash, you know, because it looked like a very slow motion crash. And through goes Chris and Jacob. And look at Jacob there, really getting a better exit than Motion out of turn 17. Oh, Chris, sorry. As we head down towards turn 1, can Chris send it on the outside on the inside? We're about to find out now. Up the inside he goes into turn 1, and he does. That's a great lunge indeed. But yeah, that was a very weird spin for Spicer, and now he's in the pit lane to put on. That's a brand new set of inters being attached to the car. No front wing damage. But it was a very weird slow motion crash indeed. He gets held in the pit lane, does he? Yeah, he does. So that wasn't like he actually got held in the pit lane for whatever reason. Did he pick up a penalty? I'm not quite sure actually, but yeah, that was a very weird stop indeed. An Austria-esque stop there for Spicer. Rejoins down in a P14. Made that 15 now, or 13th. Crossed the line on the exit, but I don't think nobody cares because it is a social race. If it was a league race, if it was PSGL, they'll be all over the back of that. But talk about being on the back of it. There's Chris and Jacob then once again embroiled in a battle for P4. I don't think it's working those wet tyres for the likes of Tom. He's still behind his teammate, not making any sorts of inroads on him whatsoever. He's all over the back of him, but he's not able to make an overtake, and his teammate is not exactly letting him go either. So he's really compromised in P7, not able to make the deficit he wants in P7. But the Haas moving, changing lanes there, as he's defended that, and he stays in P4. I know it's been a quiet race during this interstage, but we had our fun at the first early stages of the race. We had a great battle between the two RBs and Lars on the Linden, Keki and Sobox 2. As we head down towards turn 1 once again with the Haas and the Sauber. The Haas really getting out of shape, and here comes Mr. Chris, but can't take advantage as Jacob covered the road and Chris wasn't able to go anywhere at all. Lucky escape there for Jacob, but all his golden tickets will be used up if he continues doing that. And Kai-4 player picks himself up a 3-second time penalty in this race. And Tom is still behind his teammate. He's not able to make a move considering he's on a brand new set of tyres. Soapbox is in the pit lane and has called it a day to retire. So good conditions, but not good enough for Soapbox unfortunately. And that's Mr. Chris making a move on the Haasman of Jacob, and he puts himself back into P4 then. So despite Jacob having good pace, he's not able to pull away there from Chris, who really slides his way out the corner, but still remains in P4. But actually, Mr. Gully, as Chris picks himself up a 3-second time penalty, that's a shame because he was fighting for a potential podium. But Kai-4 player, who's up into P3. I think Chris spun early in this race, didn't he, at the early stages? If I remember Sauber being the wrong way around, or somebody the wrong way around, because Chris is so far back now, thinking about it. Kai-4 player is up into P3, but look at this battle going on as the Sauber once again locked his rear brakes up. Does he make contact with the Haas? I'm not quite sure. But look at that, he's sliding all over the place. Spicer picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. The brand himself into tyres, but look at the Haas there. I could play in a lot on those tyres, and any one of these moments could see him in the wall. And there's a yellow flag down there too. Is that an Alpine? Is that Felix 1? It is Felix 1. There's a virtual safety car deployed because Felix 1 is stopped on the circuit. He's gone for a spin and he's out on the ground. No? He's going to continue once again. So the VSC has slowed things down now, so not a safety car itself. Although these two have changed position. What's happened here? And Spice has stopped on the track. Something strange is going on during this Grand Prix here. Spicer has lost his end plate, so Spicer hit the wall and unfortunately has to make a return in the pit lane. So that's another set of inters being used on that car. All 3 sets being used up in a space of about 10 laps for Spicer. So how long is this VSC going to be deployed for? All these drivers can cool the tyres down if they are overheating and save some of that battery up too, ready to go attacking or defending once again. But look at that, the VSC ended beautifully because Motion was coming out of the corner and Kai-4 player was just making his way towards turn 16 and got a good launch out of the corner. Did Motion. Keke picks himself up a 3-second time penalty. But there's another yellow flag down there, and that's Felix 1 down to P16, and he's stopped on the circuit again. I don't know why Felix 1 is stopped on the circuit. Has he got a problem with his wheel? I'm not quite sure. But a virtual safety car has been deployed again. But Chris just got ahead of Jacob when that happened. No cheap pit stop for these two. They're still out there. And something's happened to Tom. Tom, what's happened to him? Did both McLarens make contact? Because Alpha Gully is up into P6, or Alpha Gunny gets a drafting penalty for speeding the VSC. And Phoenix 1 has retired, unfortunately. That's him, done and dusted. And in the pit lane comes Tom to put on the inters then. So the wet tyres only lasted for about 3 or 4 laps or so before they head to get on the inters again. So 2 VSCs in the space of a lap. Keke gets himself a driving penalty now for speeding under the VSC. Ricardo, I think, is serving his penalty. Careful players getting close to the back of motion, ready for the green light. Again. When we get racing once again, Keke unfortunately has retired from the session now. He's gone. I love Keke, but unfortunately he's retired from this race. Tell you what though, this safety, is that a safety car? Yeah, it is. It says VSC, but the safety car has been deployed. I just saw it on the black box headed down the street, so I saw SC. The safety car has been deployed. Could be on course for a good battle towards the end, because if you remember in the first stint, everybody was split up because of that big battle for P6, but everybody is now being bunched up once again. So this VSC has transformed into a safety car, and we're about to see then the battle unfold between all. I still think Justin's going to win this Grand Prix, judging with the pace he had. But there's the safety car. I know myself and I and other people have been caught up about the safety car because I got disqualified, unfortunately, after overtaking the safety car in the lead of a league race around here in Miami. I know how frustrating it is because sometimes you can misjudge where the safety car is. But everybody now should be on the bonus set of intermediates, and they all should be on a level playing field once again before we can get racing. Whilst the safety car is out, guys, I will take a short break because I have been talking for so long and I don't have a co-commentator, and I'm ill, of course, so I'm not giving my best performance tonight, so I'll be right back when the safety car comes in. That was a very nice break indeed, but the safety car is about to come in at the end of the pit lane. Is there going to be any more corners going on in the field? We've got 14 drivers left in this race. Anything could happen. Justin still leads the Grand Prix. And Motion, the guys behind him, have a 3-second time penalty. Is any other outliers in this race going to make their way through the field? Here we are then. And the audio is very loud indeed. They must have turned that down. But here we go then. Justin leads him away ahead of Zinc Motion. Heading on to lap 26. There's 3 laps left to go for this Miami Grand Prix. And already Gully is in the pit lane. Not quite sure why he's in the pit lane there. But the Sauber, he's trying to put Justin under massive pressure. He doesn't want to let him escape again. But he gets a good launch out of the corner. And he stays in P1. Does the NLR driver out Justin. The Austrian stays ahead. Still in P1. Followed by the Sauber, Kind Motion, Kind 4 player in P3 with Chris in 4th place. Followed by Jacob, Tom, Coolman, Lars van der Linden, Ricardo, Kroner, Finn Bob, who rounds off the top 10. But is anybody close enough to make him lunge? I think the McLaren boys are about to have a scrap. Yes, they are then. Here is the McLaren of Coolman right behind Tom. He's going to try and put his team out under big pressure here. I think Tom uses his battery to respond. And he stays ahead of Coolman. Remember, these two were close together in the wet period earlier on. I think it stopped raining, you know, but I don't think nobody is going to pit or dry tyres. Still quite sure what happened to Gully. I think did he have a drive penalty in 14th place there? But anyways, if he did, he has served it and he's down to last place. I remember him picking up a penalty, but I'm not quite sure why. But look at this then. The Sauber Motion is able to keep up. And here he is, alongside Justin. They go wheel to wheel, do the two boys, in the Ferrari power cars. Headed down into 17th place, or turn 17, sorry. And Motion takes the lead of the Grand Prix ahead of Justin. But can Justin respond immediately? And here we are, back on the straight with these two. And I don't think Justin will make a move into turn 1. He had great pace in the wet, but this time he's not able to pull away and escape at the top of the field. But look at Kind 4 player in P3 looking to take advantage. Remember, Kind 4 player started down. Here is Justin now, Motion defending, and I don't think any chance of an overtake was going to happen. But look at that, he is really sliding in the corners there, the high speed corners, the back end of the car, constantly complaining. Here comes the Williams on the inside. But I thought for 1 second there, the Williams will have to jump on the Haas, but the Haas, having the outside line out of turn 9, stayed ahead. But as we head down towards turn 9 now, this is going to be so interesting. What's going to happen? Down into this heavy braking zone we go as we head towards turn 9. And you can see the Sauber defending the inside line. Justin is forced to go along the outside and nothing doing there. Bit of contact too. Is Kind 4 player going to take advantage? More contact between the two. And I think Justin there tagging the rear right car. Of his car, sorry, rear right tyre of his car. But look at this, they're going side by side, in the chicane we go, and Justin is demoted into P3. He gets squeezed against the wall as we come out the corner side by side with the Williams and the Haas, but the Haas just stays ahead. But this is a great scrap, the scrap we always wanted in the rain period, but it's dried up. It is really dried up. Nobody's going to pit, otherwise it'd be very silly to do so. The Sauber goes for a late lunge there. He turns a late braking move into an opportunity for an overtake, and now he's side by side with Kind 4 player, and Kind 4 player just responds there. But look at Justin now looking to put pressure on the Sauber again as we head down towards turn 1. This is great scrapping between these guys here. And you can see that Mr. Chris is forced his way around. Actually, he's defending from Jacob. And they go wheel to wheel again with the Haas and the Sauber. And here we are coming down into turn 4 we go. In the high-speed corners, you can see, oh, look at that, Justin there, struggling in turn 4, 5 and 6. As Finn Bob has retired in the pit lane. Remember, the top two do not have penalties. Look at the top left of the corner on your screen. The top two do not have penalties. The guys in P3 and P4 don't. They're still scrapping hard, fighting for pride. But these two got to make sure they don't have those cars in between them. Otherwise, they could compromise each other's race. DRS is enabled. Oh, look at that. Massive contact indeed. Oh, look at that. What's going on there, boys? You're all supposed to be in the same team. And you've taken each other out. Wow. Ending tears there between those guys. Moving across the road. Tagging each other. And a bit too impatient. Now we've got a different person leading this race. What on earth happened there? He's supposed to be an NLR, boys. Come on. This is a social race, remember? This ain't a league race, it's not a championship race, there's no points on the line. It's just a social race, but some guys are taking it a bit too far, unfortunately. But now we've got a different leader, Zinc Motion, still in P1. So after all that, he remained unscathed. He did move across the road, did Zinc Motion. That's what probably caused all of that. But Jacob now into P2. And so all of a sudden for Jacob, a race win could be on the cards. Tom is up into P3, but Lars van der Linden is sniffing the back of a chance for a podium, but unfortunately he has a 3-second time penalty, so it's unlikely that will happen. But look at the cars sliding through the corners there. Justin will be absolutely furious after dominating this race. The track has completely dried now, and the AlphaTauri has been tied by the Red Bull Spicer. Spicer making his way back into the field now, and he forces his way up into P6, but the Ferrari behind him, Joyce Likes Food, is also trying to get involved in this battle too. He's boxed in, nowhere to go for the Ferrari man. The RB and the Red Bull going wheel to wheel again as we head down towards turn 9. The Ferrari is up the inside, and that was a great move indeed. But the last lap battle continues between the Zinc Motion, Jacob and Tom. The top three in this race do not have a penalty, but we'll see then if Zinc Motion can defend from Jacob. He gets a really good turn 13, 16 complex corners. Built a 7/10 gap. Is that 7/10 gap enough? Try and keep Jacob behind. Jacob will have the DRS on the back of Motion. And let's see then what happens going down into turn 17 we go. Is Jacob down on the brakes? Yes, he will. He's got to send it, but no. He's too far behind. Lars van der Linden there trying to look for a move on the McLaren. But out of everything, it's going to be the Sauber Zinc Motion. Is it though? Because the Haas there was so close. But Zinc Motion wins the US Grand Prix ahead of Jacob, who finished 500s behind him, and Tom a further 3/10 back. That's how close it was between those guys. But whatever happened down into turn 9, I'm not quite sure what some of these people are trying to do. I've been calling turn 9 the wrong corner. That's turn 11. I knew it was turn 11, so apologies about that. So I've been calling turn 11 turn 9, so apologies about that one. Wow, it was a bit dull in the mid stages, but was spicy towards the end. Well, there's the race done and dusted then. Zinc Motion is your race winner, finishing ahead of Jacob in P2. Jacob almost got him on the line. Tom finishes in P3. Ricardo Kroner, who spun early in the race, finished in P4. And Joris Likes Food, who was essentially nowhere, 5th ahead of Lars van der Linden. Coolman in 7th. Spicer in 8th. Brand Schnickschel in 9th place ahead of Justin P10. Christian 11th. Alpha Gully 12th ahead of Kindful Player. Finn Bob, Keke, Felix Bond, Soapbox, Wayland, Dan Antonio Wright, 20th place. Hopefully you all enjoyed the race, and I'll see you whenever. Love you all.